Ricky Villa was an Argentine international who, the summer prior to his arrival at Spurs, had won the World Cup with his country.
Really, after the World Cup, we have a chance to play in Europe, you know, because we are a world champion and we're thinking about playing in Europe, but never in England, because a lot of Argentinian players going to Italy, to Spain, because it's easy to live there, but coming Keith Wilkinson to Buenos Aires and say, you want to play in England? And we say yes, but really we don't know nothing about Tottenham.
I was here, as I said, it was in the period when I was part-time, so I heard about it on the radio. I didn't know it was, you know, like everybody else. But obviously to train with those people was magnificent. Just train with them, you know, Ricky and Ozzy, because they were, you know, these are two players who've just come from winning the World Cup. So it's magnificent just to be sort of playing, training with them, meeting them, and, you know, it's quite awesome.
Their arrival was met with much media interest, and it took Ricky a while to settle into life in the capital.
You know, my English never was a good, and I like to talk with the people, to communication with the people, and this day was impossible for me because I don't speak anywhere in England, and I can watch television, I can read the newspaper, I can talk with the player, and it was a really very, very difficult moment. And the good thing is I come with Ozzy and we talk in Spanish and we help each other, and this was a good thing.
Off the field, Ricky may have been struggling to settle into life in a foreign country, but on the pitch it didn't take him long to endear himself to the Spurs faithful.
We make our debut against Nottingham Forest away. Everything was new for us, you know, the team, the supporters, everything was new. And I scored a goal and say to us, it's easy to play in English football, you know. We make our debut and I scoring against Peter Shilton, was a great goalkeeper.
When Ozzy and Ricky came, that was special. You know, I loved playing with Ozzy and Ricky. Ricardo was probably a better technical player. And me and Ricky sort of just played about 3 or 4 1-2s right through the pitch. And it was just all of a sudden I thought, this is wonderful. This is somebody who is on the same wavelength as me. And we just gelled, you know, and Ozzy was the same. And it was a lovely feeling to play with him.
Well, Ricky used to complain to Keith that I used to kick him. And I know he did go up to Keith and says, oh, he's that madman who keeps kicking me. But that's the way I trained and played the same way. You know, I trained hard, trained to win. And I did kick him, I admit, I did a few times.
And as a player, I mean, it was wonderful. Ricky was all about intuition. Don't ask Ricky to think about the game, to analyze the game, no. He just went there and played, and it was intuition 100%, and when the intuition was working, it was wonderful.
This intuition and natural skill would be epitomised by one of the greatest moments in Spurs and FA Cup history, when Ricky Villa scored one of the greatest goals ever seen.
The goal in the FA Cup final was a legendary goal in football, let alone in the history of Tottenham, and endeared himself to every Spurs fan.
I say very, very lucky man, you know, because I scored a great goal in the right moment and the right place, and everybody still remember that, and I can't believe it.
And that maybe was why Galvin was reluctant to release it. Now he can find Villa. And he can really stab them. Going all the way. And Villa! 3-2 to Tottenham. 2 goals in the game for Villa. And Spurs are back in the lead.
Very clearly what Ricky was as a footballer, he was epitomized by the first game in 1981. When he was ejected in Wembley, they 1-1, blah, 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 and 3 or 4 days later, he was absolutely superb. He was our winning car. He was absolutely everything. That was Ricky, basically, and that meaning that he would have an unbelievable bad game, or he would be absolutely wonderful.
The English football is very difficult to play, because I never play in between. I played good or bad, you know. Not consistent enough to play in the English league. Maybe because I don't realize I have to work in very hard Monday, Tuesday, every day to prove I can play here. in this day, I believe I don't need to run to play good football, you know. My mind is not really very good, but was a very nice experience to come into England, really. My family, I have 2 English daughters, you know. I have to say thank you all the time.
We've seen the first 20 to be inducted into the list, but let's refresh the memory on just who has made it in. Starting the list was 100-plus goals man from the 50s, Les Bennett. Number 49 is current central defensive folk hero Ledley King. With 48, a fellow centre-back Mike England. Number 47 is UEFA Cup winning striker Mark Falco. His teammate Tony Galvin is next. And at 45 is the king of the comb-over, Ralph Coates. Number 44 is the last of the truly great goalkeepers, Ray Clements. Number 43 is another 80s striker, Garth Crooks. And at 42 is 50s fullback Mel Hopkins, with his teammates and fellow fullbacks Ron Henry at 41 and number 40 Peter Baker. Number 39 is double winning striker Les Allen, with World Cup winner Martin Peters at 38. Cyril Knowles makes it to 37, with number 36 Chris Hughton rewarded for his long service to the club. Number 35 is another 100-plus goal machine, Robbie Keane. At 34 is another of the double-winning side, Terry Medwin, followed at 33 by teammate and namesake Terry Dyson. Number 32 is inside forward Eddie Bailey, and completing the list so far is Argentine FA Cup hero Ricky Villa. Alan Mallory began his career at Fulham, a tough-tackling central midfield player who within a year of being in the first team found himself captain of Fulham and shortly after that making the move to North London.
When I came in '64, I mean, I was playing for a football club that was, I suppose you could call it fun. I mean, if you won, it was great. If you lost, there wasn't too many people worried about it because there was a game the following week.
Alan was signed to fill the hole left by the great Danny Blanchflower. Spurs' greatest ever captain, it was some big shoes to fill.
And how do you follow somebody like that? You know, I was an entirely different player to what Danny Blanchflower was. I mean, Danny never did any tackling. Mackay did that for him. And I came in and I was another sort of Mackay. You know, I would tackle people, I would give the ball to better quality players like Greavesy and John White and Bobby Smith and people like that, and they would do the business. So my job was entirely different to what Danny was doing, where he was such a great one-touch player, two-touch player, beautiful strike of a ball, lovely pass of the ball. I was an entirely different player and I found that extremely difficult to get over.
If taking over midfield responsibilities from Danny was hard enough, he was given the captain's armband when Dave Mackay left the club, taking over from another of the club's legends.
When I came here, the captain at the time was Mackay, and you couldn't get any bigger than him, you know, in stature and ability.
He was wonderful because he did stick up for me on quite a few occasions with the great man himself, Bill Nick. He realised I needed a slap on the back or a pat on the back on occasions, and he was the most enthusiastic captain. When he scored a goal, he would leap all over me, and he could score important goals himself. It was something that I never forgot when he used to stand up and fight my corner for me.
I admired Alan greatly when I played for Burnley and when I was young, and he's a little bit older than me, and he was my type of player, and tenacity, he got stuck in and he'd win the ball. I think he won the ball and then gave it to other players to make a name for themselves, but you've got to have that tenacity to win the ball, which Alan did have. And what a great skipper. He kept you on your toes. If you made a mistake, you knew about it. And he said, in his own way, he used to G you up. It was great.
It's nice to see Mallory freed a little bit from his defensive duty, because I think there's more skill about Mallory than most people imagine. They look upon him as a tank. Really, he's a tank with a lot of skill.